What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. Lots to talk about today. There are so many opportunities in the market right now. We've got Mega Evolution era popping off right now. We have the Sword and Shield era kind of crashing. Question mark. We're going to get into all of it in this episode. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. Okay, I'm excited to get into today's episode. As you can see, in preparation for the episode, I went a bit wild this week with the tabs. There's lots to talk about this week. We're going to go into a lot of detail with a lot of these sets and what's going on at the moment in the market, because I do genuinely feel like we're at a really interesting tipping point in the market where it really could go either way. We could see continued cooling off, which is most likely. But I'm wondering what's going to happen after that. Are we going to see massive reductions in demand in the hobby? Or are we going to go into a super cycle and just keep running into a continued bull market over the next year or so? It is quite hard to tell at the moment what's going to happen. But let's just have a look at the sets. So we'll start off with Phantasmal Flames, as it is the most recent set that's out. I have been very transparent on this channel that I'm a big fan of Phantasmal Flames, which actually goes against the general consensus of sort of Pokemon YouTubers and influencers, etc. A lot of people don't like this set. All of the reasons that I've heard for not liking Phantasmal Flames, I think, are basically invalid. I think that I don't give any weight to any of those explanations on why Phantasmal won't become a very high valued set in the future. And me personally, after just doing this for a long time, I have a really good gut feeling on this set that it's going to perform really well going forward. Phantasmal Flames is one of the only products that I'm actually actively buying right now, and buying quite significant numbers of. I did tell myself that I was going to stop buying until Christmas, sort of like all Pokemon product, and try and recover a bit of money and save up a bit of money ready for some of the new sets that are going to be coming out in early 2026. Gosh, that sounds strange to say 2026. But it's right around the corner. It's a couple of weeks away. And obviously we've got Ascended Heroes coming out soon. I definitely want to move into that as well. So I wanted to cool off on buying a little bit, but where Phantasmal Flames is just reducing down in price, it's too good for me to not pick up, in my opinion. And that's okay if that's against what everyone else thinks. I'm not here to sort of justify it at all, because I'm just going to pick up what I feel is best to pick up anyway. If other people disagree in that opinion, that's fine. I do feel like it is important for you guys to be able to make up your own decisions on sets, and if you disagree with me, that's 100% fine, and actually a really positive thing, because I would much rather you guys invest into things that you believe in rather than just copying what I say. I'm just here to kind of give you the data so that you can make your own decisions, and also so that you can just gauge for yourself what's going to be best for you, rather than just copy me. I'm just being transparent about what I'm buying and what I'm doing as well while doing this. So we're seeing price reductions in Phantasmal Flames. That's no surprise really, because it is still holding well over retail price, and that is the really important thing to take away from it. It's not that the price is reducing, it is the fact that it is still holding well above retail for the most recent set that's out. There are continued waves coming, but it is still holding a massive premium over MSRP. So let's have a look at the average price charts. Last week it was averaging $254. This week it is averaging last sale $225, with multiple sales there from this morning of between $225 and $230. We're seeing a lot of sales data here as well. You're seeing each candlestick on this TCG player is 200 to 300 plus booster boxes being sold just on TCG player. Obviously you've got all these people that are ripping it on Whatnot as well, and other streaming platforms. I said the W word. I didn't want to say the W word. I don't like giving people free promo. eBay as well. I don't mind promoting eBay. There's obviously the majority, I believe, are being sold on eBay. But yeah, lots of sales data. Price coming down a little bit just becomes more attractive to me. Even at 225, I think that that's a really, really good deal. You're seeing a lot of Scarlet and Violet sets settle now at that sort of $240 range. Even some of the later sets like your Surgeon, Journey Together, stuff like that. Me personally, I'd rather save $25 and start stacking up Phantasmal, because I think it's going to get to the point where, 6 months from now, 8 months from now, there's not going to be more of it hitting the shelves. Or when it does, it's going to be few and far between. Like, you're going to get a drop and then it might correct down for a month or so, and then that's it. And then you might not get another drop for another 6 months, 8 months, or you might not even get another drop. I think that everyone's so focused in the short term in the hobby right now, and they forget that you've got sets that are fairly recent, like Destined Rivals and stuff like that. Destined Rivals is well in print, and I'm not comparing Destined Rivals to Phantasmal Flames on the sets because they're completely different things. But what I'm talking about is print allocations, okay? Destined Rivals, a lot of people expected Destined Rivals to have been printed a lot heavier by now, okay? Phantasmal Flames could be in that position going forward. I'm not saying it's going to perform as well as Destined Rivals. That would be immature to say, because I don't think it will. However, it is very possible, and we have seen recently with sets that they don't get printed enough. Phantasmal Flames could easily fall into that bracket. It easily could. We're just going to have to wait and see as time goes on. But like I said, for $225, looks like a snack to me. I welcome it dropping. I would welcome it going down to retail, and I'll just continue to buy more and more and more, and just lower my entry cost as an average across all of them. Right, let's then have a look at eBay. eBay last sold $235. New listing tag as well, so bought out straight away. People were very happy to scoop that one. That was yesterday. Another sale here for $230. So although it's down a few percent, it's still holding its own, like way, way above retail. And it's a fun set to open, guys. I've opened more Phantasmal Flames than I have of any other set for about the last 2 years or so. I'm really enjoying opening it, and part of it is to do with the pull rates. Having slightly reduced pull rates, and I'm not just talking about the big cards, but even just the ultra rare cards. The pull rates aren't bad. I think they're like 1 in 12, 1 in 20 for an ultra rare or something like that. Pretty good odds. We're going to have a look at pull rates in a moment, because, like I said, I'm not here to defend Phantasmal Flames. I am very transparent that I go against the grain and against what most people are saying by supporting it and saying that it's a good set to move into. So I'm not here to defend it, but I do want to show you something interesting in a moment. Just before I do, I'm going to show you UK prices. If you're wondering why I show US and UK prices, US prices are the primary focus on this channel, just because they're the largest English card market in the world, and it gives a really good sense of where the sets are going data-wise and for predicting things long-term. I also show UK prices because I am based in the UK myself, and the UK market is my speciality because it's where I'm from. So, last sold in the UK, 177. If you put on postage, that puts it up over 180. I bought one last week, about a week and a half ago, for 180, and it was a super minty box as well. So it's kind of hovering at around about that 180 mark here in the UK. Now, I really wanted to quickly just show you this graphic from TCG Player of the actual averaged pull rates from Phantasmal Flames, because one of the main things that people say when they talk about Phantasmal Flames and it not being an investable set is that the SIR Charizard is too easy to pull. So we can actually see the pull rates here. So any SIR is 1 in 80 packs. But there are quite a few SIRs in the set. To pull a specific SIR, aka the Charizard, is 1 in 400 packs. And it's very easy for online to become a bit of an echo chamber. Okay, once one person starts saying, oh, it's too easy to pull that Charizard, or my friend pulled it as well, it's very easy to get warped into thinking that it's a super easy card to pull. And I can tell you myself, I've opened quite a lot of Phantasmal Flames. I haven't pulled it yet. I did pull a Sharpedo SIR though, which will be sitting in my collection for a good long time. I won't be selling that. It's just a nice personal card for me. But anyway, 1 in 400. So I just want to do some quick maths for you with the aid of my calculator. So 1 in 400 to pull the SIR Charizard on average. I think we all agree we're all happy with that number. Okay, so 1 in 400, divide that by 36 packs. You'd have to go through 11.1 booster boxes to be average for pulling that SIR Charizard. That is a lot of booster boxes. And I think when people talk about it being an easy pull, that Charizard, they don't realize that that is the average 11 booster boxes. For everyone that pulls it in 1 ETB or 1 booster box, that's someone not pulling it in 20 boxes. So we can actually use that data to have a look at last sold. Last sold $235. So 11.1 booster boxes, even though you can't buy a 0.1 booster box. We'll just take the averages. We will times that by the $235 that you would have to spend. You would have to spend on average $2,611 on packs from booster boxes right now to pull that SIR Charizard. Now, to me, that is not the easiest card in the world to pull, and not as easy as people make out. Don't even get me started on the gold Charizard as well. I know it's less desirable now, but in 10 years it might not, just because it is so hard to hit. 1 in 1,260 packs. We'll calculate it out just for fun. We'll divide that by 36 packs. You would have to open 35 booster boxes on average if you had average luck to pull that. 35 booster boxes at $235 a box. $8,225 on average to pull that gold Charizard. We will leave it there. I'm not there to defend Phantasmal Flames. I'm just, like I said, putting the data out there for you guys and just saying that I don't agree with a lot of people that are saying that Phantasmal Flames is uninvestable because the SIR Charizard is easy to pull. That is the facts and the figures there for you. You can make up your own mind on there. We're going to move on because we have so many tabs to get through today. This is going to be a bumper episode for you. Right. Mega Evolution booster box. A lot of people are saying like, oh, Mega Evolution has more range, it has more hits, more desirable SIRs, etc. And I agree with that. I think that it will perform just as well as Phantasmal Flames going forward for the next year or two. I think once things are out of print, though, I could see Phantasmal Flames accelerating and pushing away from Mega Evolution. At the moment, they're almost exactly the same price. And it's positive to see Mega Evolution holding at a decent price. It is slowly coming down, but for the whole time it's been holding well over retail price. Let's have a look at the figures here for you. $247 on the average last week. Last sold $245. So within 1% of last week. So pretty much holding at that 240, 245 range, which is equivalent to Surging, Journey, and obviously it's much newer than that as well. So really positive to see these sets that are coming out in the Mega Evolution era just holding price way over retail. That's the thing you need to focus on, not which direction the chart is going up or down in, because that's temporary. It's about how much demand there is, and by holding over retail, it shows that they're not putting enough of it out there, because if they were, it would be sat on shelves for retail. It's as simple as that. It really is. Retail price is very much a push-pull on the market. If something is newly released and it's going on the secondary market for way over retail, the supply doesn't meet the demand. It's as simple as that. And what do you think is going to happen when it goes out of print, when it's 2 years old? Okay, demand might not be as high, or it might be higher, but supply is going to drop to basically zero, at least for retail price. Right now, you can't buy it anywhere for retail unless you're super lucky and you catch like an LCS, drop it. But most LCSs nowadays won't sell it to you for retail. If they got a restock now of Mega Evolution, they're going to charge you market. A lot of LCSs would. Right, let's then have a look at prices. $220 last sold eBay US. Last sold in the UK, $182. Like I said, it's almost exactly that same price as Phantasmal there. Decent pickup as well, in my opinion. I've been putting a lot of money into the Mega Evolution era. Like I said, I'm stacking a position in Phantasmal right now. But before Phantasmal came out, I was buying a lot of Mega as well. So I have a lot of Mega too. I've got about an equal positioning right now on Mega and Phantasmal. And I'm probably going to continue to increase the bag on Phantasmal over the next 2 years. I'm going to keep buying into it, especially if the rest of the market are saying that they don't want it and you're getting dumps on eBay. I'm more than happy to scoop them up and pay cheaper prices for it. I actually really encourage people to continue to talk down Phantasmal Flames so I can buy more of it. Right, let's then move on to Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals, in my opinion, is the best set of the Scarlet and Violet era, and we all know what happens with the best sets of each era. It really hasn't had enough time to run, and yet it is holding consistent at this $400 price point. Last week on the averages it was $415, but we were actually seeing sales around about $400 last week. Last sold $378, so down a little bit, down what's that, 20, 30, about $38, which is significant. It's about 10% off of last week's averages, but once we have a look at eBay, you can see it's right up there. Last sold from yesterday at right on $400 for a nice mini box, which is insane. Which such a new set is it's just still trading for $400, so much up over retail. And it's partly, like I said, due to supply. We're just not seeing booster boxes hit shelves. You might see other products start to get restocked, like 3-pack blisters, check lane blisters. There's a higher likelihood that you might see a store restock that, even booster bundles. But we're just, look, here's one for $409 here, going from yesterday, sold yesterday for $409. I don't know why I'm losing my words there, getting a bit tangled up in my own head. Part of the problem with Destined Rivals, like I said, is there's just not booster box supply. And I could easily see this trickling forward into other sets that are either coming out now or haven't come out yet. Booster boxes seem to be getting a lot rarer. They really do. And you're only really seeing them mainly at source from Pokemon Center pre-orders, or the occasional that gets stuck into vending machines. But that's mainly in the US, and vending machines weirdly only stock like certain booster boxes. Like you're seeing a lot of Surgeon, you sometimes see Journey. How many people are seeing Destined Rivals booster boxes in vending machines? I don't know, because I'm not over there, but I haven't seen much online, and I would have expected that I would see more sort of Instagram posts and that kind of thing online if they were suddenly dropping in vending machines. And that's why we're seeing such a premium for these. Not only is it such an iconic set, but there's just not the supply of the booster box sealed product. And booster boxes become collectible. That's what a lot of people forget about. It's not just about the pack to cost ratio. It's the fact that the booster box in time, once it's out of print, becomes a collectible in itself. I think that Destined Rivals is such a fantastic investment, even at these prices. Yes, it may get reprinted. I hope it does, and it drops back down to $300, $250. That'd be great, because I will pile them to the ceiling. But I don't see it happening. And even if we do get a big reprint, it's going to be temporary, because they are struggling to keep up with the new sets. We've already heard rumours about Ascended Heroes is going to have printing difficulties. They're going to be focusing on that. And for some reason, they're still just obsessed with printed prismatic evolutions as well. They're just leaving Destined Rivals to shoot off to the moon. Destined Rivals is, I have a large position in it, so I'm not trying to inflate my bags, because I put my position into it in the early days, within the first couple of weeks of it coming out, and I told all of you guys to as well. Some of you took my advice and are doing very well in that position. Some of you insulted me in the comments and told me that I was stupid and Destiny Rivals was heading to MSRP. We can see who won that side of the argument. It was a very one-sided argument. I didn't engage with those people, but they're very silent now. You don't get those comments anymore. I do still think it is a good investment, even at $400. I always say to people, be prepared to put something away for at least 2 years minimum. Obviously, you can sell it earlier if you're in profit or you need the money. That's completely fine. Just be prepared that worst case scenario, 2-year hold, and you'll hopefully break even. In most cases, you'll start to see those gains. Obviously, it's ideal to hold for much longer time period than that. The longer the better, 5-year, 10-year, that kind of time horizon. But I think if you buy Destiny Rivals, even now at 400, and you put it away for 3 years, 5 years, I think you'll still do very well out of it. And big news, right? Destiny Rivals has been knocked off the top spot this week. It's been having such a back and forth with Paldea Evolved. Last sold Paldea Evolved is $400. Last sold Destiny Rivals is $399.99. So technically, by one cent, Paldea Evolved takes it and takes its crown back as the most expensive Scarlet and Violet booster box. People always ask me long term where I see it going. I've been very transparent that I think that Destiny Rivals, once they're both out of print, will start to accelerate away from Paldea Evolved and will take its rightful spot as the best Scarlet and Violet booster box. But we'll just have to see going forward what happens. Last sold in the UK, 286 quid, nearly 300 all in. Right, let's then talk about the Mega Charizard X EX Ultra Premium Collection. God, that's a mouthful to be able to say that. Mega Charizard X EX. What a silly name. But that is its name. It's continuing to come down in price. I have said that these are a good deal. I think we're seeing a repeat of the original Charizard UPC, where it will just continue to come down in price to silly amounts of money. No one will want them. Clever people like me and you guys that are the 0.001% of people who actually pay attention to data and charts with sealed Pokemon product will realise it's a steal. We'll stack these to the ceiling and we'll all become millionaires, right? Great plan. So we're watching this happen live. We're watching the price continue to tick down each week and it just become more and more attractive. I would welcome this getting even more cheaper and I wouldn't be scared to buy into it if it did. Purely for the fact that with these UPCs, they hold multiple sets worth of cards. There should be a little image here. Yeah, that's a really, really grainy image. But it has 4 Mega Evolution, 4 Phantasmal Flames, 4 Destiny Rival. There's some Journey Together in there. There's some Surgeon in there. It will perform well in the long term, even if they print it into the ground now, purely because of that pack selection. Because those sets, given a couple of years, once they go out of print, those packs will become more and more valuable, which will boost up this product's value. So we will continue to track it each week as it continues to fall in price. And we can all be very happy about the fact that we're just getting an even better and better deal on this. I already have 1 in my collection. I'm not a huge fan of UPCs purely for the fact that they're quite bulky. I am quite limited on space. As you can imagine, for someone who's been doing this for nearly 10 years, I'm quite limited on space because I hold quite a lot of sealed product. As you guys can imagine, there are a lot of people that pop up with messages asking me to do a collection video. I will just shut that down straight away. I will not be doing a collection video anytime now or anytime in the near future. There's personal reasons for that. Me personally, I find it quite disgusting when people do that and when people flaunt really expensive boxes in the background of their videos. That's why I don't really show what's going on behind me anymore with the display either. I know some people enjoyed it. It's just not my style. I think it's a big ego thing. I think it's a bit of a flex, and it's just not me. I'm not that kind of person. And I compare it to, imagine being at work and being on work break in a breakout room with someone, and someone says, hey, how much have you got in your bank account right now? Would you answer that person? I personally wouldn't, and I think a lot of people wouldn't. And I see it similar to that, but each to their own. That's why I will not do a collection video. Anyway, these are coming down in price a little bit. Last sold on eBay US. That's like a UK one, so just ignore that. We'll go US to US. Here we go, 150, 164. That's another UK one. The UK ones, the reason why they're more expensive, by the way, on the import is because of the exchange rate on there. That is the only reason why it sort of throws off the data. That's why we always look at US to US and UK to UK, because it gives you a real gauge on how much people are actually paying in the market, rather than how like exchange rate is influencing, etc. So about 165 on average. There's one going for 170, 162. Yeah, averaging around about 165. I do think that's a good position to buy into this product if you don't have one already. Like I said, I think they will come down in price a little bit more over the next couple of months, but I'd still be happy to pick one up now and hold it if you do want one in your collection. And they're beautiful. Okay, they really do display well. I think they absolutely smashed it on the box. I was watching a live stream the other day with some other Pokemon YouTube investors, and they said something really interesting that I really disagree with, that I would like to bring up to you guys. And they were having a conversation about collection versus investment, because someone asked them a question, I think it was, which was something along the lines of, I want to buy this box for my collection. Do you think it's a good investment? And they shut down the question straight away and said that there are two sides of things. There's either collecting or investing. There's no crossover. So your question doesn't make sense and it's a stupid question. I completely disagree with that, actually. I think that they are two separate entities, collecting and investing, but it's like two circles, and I think there's a big crossover in the middle. And I think that is really the sweet spot for a lot of us here on the channel when you really think about things, because it's not about buying the sealed products that are the best investment. Okay, if I were to do that, I would buy probably, I don't know, 100 boxes of Scarlet and Violet base set, and we'll get into that in a minute, because that's technically one of the best investments. Or I would have bought Shrouded Fable when it was below retail. But for me, I don't want to do that. I want to have stuff in my collection that's cool, and I want to have some of the best sets as well. And I do think that there is definitely an overlap with products that are cool that you want in your collection, but are also good investments as well. For example, Destined Rivals, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, this UPC, for example. This UPC looks amazing as a sealed product. And as a sealed product collector, not investor, sealed product collector, which is what I am. Yes, I'm an investor as well, but it's not as simple as that. I think there's a big overlap. And yeah, I think once you start thinking that way as well, you're going to be happier with the stuff that you buy. I think that you shouldn't just buy things because it's a good investment. I think you should buy things because you want it in your collection and it has the potential to increase in price as well. And I think this really does tick all of those boxes. Yet again, I've gone off on a tangent. I'm not even a third of the way through the tabs and we're going into PokePond story time. So apologies for that. Let's move on. Let's move on. Phantasmal Flames, Mega Charizard, I'm trying to think of the name, Mega EXX Charizard, whatever it's called, UPC, last sold in the UK, 154.99. These were going for around about 170, 180 not that long ago. So to see it sub 160 is looking pretty good. And interestingly, look at this 151 UPC, what it's going for now. 510 quid. Very interesting. Let's move on then to Prismatic Evolutions. Prismatic Evolutions is so criminally undervalued right now. And I think everyone realizes that, but no one's buying it. And I don't know why. Well, obviously people are buying it, but there's no focus on it at the moment. There's so many people that are just too busy with their Phantasmal Flames and Mega Evolution, and I'm partly to blame with that as well. I'm pumping up Phantasmal Flames, but I already own a lot of Prismatic Evolutions, and like I said, I'm short on space as well, so where it's not a booster box set, I'm reluctant to buy into more ETBs because I don't have the space for them. If I had unlimited space, I would buy a lot more Prismatic ETBs, but I already hold a lot of them. I hold loads of bundles of it as well. Same with 151. Bundles are just so space efficient, and they actually perform quite well, like almost the same as the ETBs as well. Maybe in 5 years' time, the ETB is going to be a lot more desirable than the bundle, probably. But as far as like ease of space, I love the booster bundles. And like also as well, sidebar, people quite often say in the comments like, oh, you don't talk about the bundles, or, you know, you missed on when you were looking at Prismatic Evolution last week, you didn't see that the Costco bundle was such a good deal. Why didn't you mention that? I don't have time to mention all of these other products, okay? I am focusing on the most common product, the most desirable product out of each set. And because I say a set's good and it's investable in, that means there probably are other products other than the booster box, other than the Elite Trainer box, like the Costco bundle, like the booster bundles, that are a really good deal, or even the PCETBs or something like that. I'm not trying to tell you specifically what to buy. This is not what this channel is for. I'm just trying to cram in as much information as possible to give you an overview of the set and how the set is performing. If you can find a better deal in a slightly different product of the same set, go for it. That's what this channel is all about, okay? I did not miss the Costco bundle. I saw the Costco bundle. I didn't have time to talk about it. Prismatic was falling in price recently, and I told you guys this is such a snack. It really is, and it's starting to rebound back up again. At least on TCG Player. Last week the averages were 116. Now it's going for 118, 124, slowly creeping back up. It's still cheap on eBay though. Look at this. Last sold eBay US, new listing tag, $105. I mean, that is a ludicrous price for a Prismatic ETB. 108, 110. Look at this. On an auction, $97. Crazy. Now, a lot of these really cheap ones have this yellow tag on them, which says $40. Like, I presume this is a store that's been restocking them, or it's like vending machine or something. I don't know what store that is because it's America and I don't live in America, but people are dumping Prismatic at the moment. There's obviously more supply hitting the market. Stupid not to buy in. I thought we'd never see a sub $100 Prismatic ETB again. I think we'll struggle to see another one again. I think that is just a one-off. But even still, people scooping them up on buy it nows for 105, 110. It'd be stupid not to, guys. That is really one of the best plays in the market right now. Last sold eBay UK. Weird import. That's going to have like weird conversion fees from euros. Here we go. New listing tag 110. Buy it out now. 110, 104, 109. This one went for 87 quid. What? That is absolutely ludicrous. But yeah, I think that if you're in the US, anywhere around 110, I'd pay right up to 130. You won't even have to pay $130, but I would pay up to $130 for a Prismatic ETB. it's going to be one of those things. There's lots of them on the market right now, lots of them being traded. The supply is high, the demand is not as high as the supply, which is why price is coming down. I don't think it's going to come down any further. The fact that it didn't really drop below $100, even when they were printing it into the ground in the Costco printing era, just shows how much of a snack it is right now at 110. Whoever scooped that for $97, like, absolutely scored a 3-pointer with that one. Anyway, let's move on. Journey Together. So Journey Together booster boxes came down in price significantly over the last couple of months and is starting to rebound up in price a bit. Last week it was averaging 223, which was super cheap. Last sale 230, another sale before it closer up to that 250 range. So rebounding in price a little bit and coming closer to that 230, 240 Scarlet and Violet floor, which we saw in the summer, where the average sort of price of the mid to low tier boxes would be around about that $230, $240 range. And I think it's healthy for a lot of the sets to be floating at around that kind of price point. Last sale on eBay US, a nice enhanced version there for $220. I think, like I said, 230, 240 is a good floor for these sets in the short term, while the market is cooling off probably until about January, February sort of time. So if you can scoop up anything like Journey, Surgeon, Paradox, anything like that for sort of sub 230, I think you're getting a really, really good deal on it, particularly if it's a minty box. So I think that's a good deal, that one, for 219 last sold in the UK 177. Again, not a bad entry point for that. You're talking, what, just over 20 quid over retail for Journey Together? Decent pickup if you don't have any in your collection at the moment. Surgeon Sparks then. Surgeon Sparks is similar, floating around that sort of 240 range. Last week it was averaging 249. Last sold 237, 242, 242, 240. Floating around that 240 mark, as I said. Last sold in the US, there you go, bang on. 239.95 for Surgeon. 256, that's a UK import, so conversions, there we go, 237 on an auction. I think that 240 is a good price for it. Like I said, 240 is a good floor for Surgeon and Journey going forward. If you can scoop it up anything sub 240, those sets, I think you're getting a really, really good deal going forward. Last sale on eBay UK 226, a little bit less attractive than the US market, but again, not a bad deal. That is the worst booster box photo I've seen in a very long time. Real terrible photo there. They've got a light source directly above their head and they're blocking the entire product with a shadow photo of their phone. Really bad. Oh, it was best offer accepted. I wonder what that actually sold for. Anyway, let's have a look then, because that was best offer accepted. Okay, 232 last sold then. But yeah, if you're new to eBay selling, and eBay is a great way to sell, another mistake they made is they put it up as pre-owned. Okay, it's a sealed box, but it's brand new. Yeah, terrible photo. Sort out your lighting. It's worth it. Even if you have to wait 6 hours until it's daytime to get a better photo, if you don't have a great setup, the least you can do is be able to not have shadows on the box. They did do a good thing of taking photos of all angles of the box, so it's actually a decent looking box. To be fair, it's quite minty. Just terrible photos though. So little tip for you there if you're not versed on eBay selling. Paradox Rift. I was saying over the last couple of weeks that Paradox Rift, you should probably buy into it because it's probably at its floor at around about 230, 240 and nearly retail in the UK. Last week it was averaging, let's see, 237. 237 again this week. So it's just chilling right there at that 235, 240 range. Like I said, that's just going to become the floor, I think, of some of these sets. As I said with anything, once you're seeing multiple weeks of averages around this 230, 235 range. It doesn't matter what the price is. If you're holding at a certain price, you're always going to have people dumping who need a quick sale on eBay. So we're going to see some crazy deals. I wouldn't be surprised if later this week you might be able to scoop a Paradox for $220, something like that. But we're going to move on because it's kind of just flat at that price point. Not much move from last week. Temporal Forces continues to fall. We kind of called this one perfectly. We had that gut feeling that it was massively overvalued at this point in November. It shot right up to like $282. And I'm a big fan of Temporal. I like Temporal over Paradox a lot. But I'd said it's just too overvalued. Be cautious buying into it at this $282 range, and it's really starting to come down in price now. Last week it was averaging $272. Last sold $230, so that is down on the averages. What's that? What was it? 272. So that's 43. $43 on 272, down another 15.8% this week, but it's corrected down as we expected into that mid box era range, which is what we were talking about, of that 230 to 240 range. I think that is a fair price for Temporal now. Do I think that it's going to climb back up to this range, up to that 282 and start pushing all-time highs? Yes, but give it a few months. It's going to need 6 months for it to start pushing all-time highs, at least. Last sold on eBay US. There you go. Look at that. Right down there now. $225. That is really cheap. On a buy it now as well from yesterday. I think that is a good entry level point to buy into it. Like I said, anything sort of sub 230, 240 for some of these sort of mid to lower sets in Scarlet and Violet is a good price point to buy in at. Last sale on eBay UK, £203. Pretty decent deal there. Let's then talk about 151 Elite Trainer boxes. I think it's finally found its floor after the drop. We kind of called it over the last couple of weeks at $350 is way too cheap for 151 Elite Trainer box, especially when it held at this $400 range for so long. I was really surprised to see it drop down to $350. Yeah, really quite shocking, and it's starting to rebound a little bit, but I still think it's massively undervalued. $351 last week on the averages. Now it's back up to $370, so it's up $19 on 351. It's up another 5.4%, but I still think it's something like 10-15% below where it should be right now. So you're just getting an opportunity to buy a box that's pretty much out of print of one of the best sets of Scarlet and Violet for a considerable discount. Last sold on eBay US, $360. Last sold on eBay UK, 300 quid on the nose. Another one here on an auction going for 288. I think anything sub 300 quid in the UK is a decent deal going forward. And yeah, I still think it's a $400 booster box. So if you're scooping it up anywhere under $400, which I think you can quite comfortably do now and probably for the next week or so at least, then I think it's a pretty decent buy if you don't already have one. Twilight Masquerade rebounding up in price a little bit, which was nice. It dropped so much over the last couple of months, right down to that 280 range on the averages. But now it's just kind of holding at around about $300. Last week it was $293 on the averages. Now it is $285. So it's actually come down a little bit from the averages. Let's find an actual sale from last week. $297 to $285. So what's that down? $12, which is about 4.4%, something like that. Pull out a calculator if you want to sense test me there. I think I'm pretty close on that percentage. Last sold on eBay US, $299, right on that $300 mark, which I think is a fair price for it, if not a little bit undervalued. Let's then talk about, oh, okay, last sold in the UK, sorry, is 205 quid on an auction. Let's see what the last buy it now was. Oh, I also want to make out as well that I had a look at sales in the UK. Only 4 sold over the last week, which is quite significant. It does mean that it could easily start to shift into a seller's market where there just isn't the supply to meet the demand. There's always going to be people selling Twilight Masquerade and these kind of more niche sets. It just becomes that as time goes on, in 5 years from now, there's probably going to be 2, 3, 4 people still selling Twilight Masquerade, but probably one's going to be selling it 10% over market, one's going to be selling it double market, and then the other 2 are selling it 3x market. Do you see what I mean about how when stuff's really new and there's loads of it around, like Prismatic Evolutions, Phantasmal Flames, Mega Evolution, all those kind of sets are, it's buyer's market. Okay, it really is, because there's just so much supply. As time goes on, though, with sealed stuff, I don't care how much of it was printed. Given enough time, given enough patience, it starts to flip into a seller's market. That's why Destined is performing so well as a booster box, because it's a seller's market. There just aren't the booster boxes around. They're not hitting shelves. It's a very real thing with sealed product, and it's important to be aware of that if you are investing or collecting in sealed product going forward. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Paldea Evolved. It's taken its crown back by like 1 cent this week. It is technically more expensive than Destined Rivals. It'd be interesting to see what happens over the next month or so. What do you guys reckon? I want to know down below in the comments who's going to win over the next couple of months. Is Paldea going to start climbing back up to this $470 range? Or is Destined going to continue to start pushing all-time highs? What do you think? I'm back in Destined. I'm back in Destined long term. I don't know what's going to happen over the next 6 months. We'll see. Obviously, Paldea Evolved goes out of print a lot quicker. I would love for them to print more Destined. I would love for there to be booster boxes everywhere. I would love to walk in to a local card store or like a big box retailer or something and see a massive display of retail price Destined Rivals boxes. Even though I own a decent amount of them, I would still be so happy to see it at MSRP. I really would, and I think a lot of the market would. It would be fantastic, especially if they start sitting around and then big box stores can't sell them, and then they start dropping them in the sale and you get sub retail Destined Rivals. But we're living in a dream world. That's never going to happen. Let's be honest. Okay, we're getting sidetracked into our fantasies of Destined Rivals. Last week, Paldea Evolved was averaging $363. This week, it is selling right up there at that $400 range, 405, 406. So a decent increase in price on Paldea Evolved. There you go. Last sold, eBay US. 400 on the nose. The last sold Destined Rivals was 399.99. So technically, by 1 cent, the king has his crown back. Paldea Evolved is the most expensive Scarlet and Violet set again. Could someone please just list a Destined Rivals this week for $401? And someone buy it so that it becomes the king again. Please. I would love that. Last sold in the UK, $297. £297. Sorry, getting confused with my dollars and pounds there. Let's then talk about Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates, similar to 151, it had such a reduction in price, even though no more of it hit the market, and then has slowly been rebounding back in price, but still way below where it should be. It's like, what, 15% down on its all-time high? I could easily see it climbing back up there, so 15% discount still on Paldea Evolved, in my opinion. Last week it was averaging $233. Now it's back up to $260, so that's what, $27 on $233. That's a decent amount. Yeah, Paldea Fates up 11.5% this week, and still 15% under where I think it should be, in my opinion. So decent investment, if you ask me. One of my favorite sets, definitely. And I love the branding of the sealed product. I think the Elite Trainer box looks so good in the purple and silver. It's so cool. Last sold eBay US $240. That's a really good deal in my opinion. Last sold in the UK just under 200 quid. I think anything under 200 quid is a really good deal. But look at that. Basically like 200 quid. The PC ETB 260 on a buy it now. That's such a good deal. Just an extra 60, 70. When you do post it, an extra 75 quid to get the PC ETB. I think that's a decent deal. I already own one of the PC ETBs, so I will not be buying another one. Here we go. Scarlet and Violet base set booster box. We briefly touched on the fact we were going to talk about it earlier in the episode. Doing some interesting things. I've always been a fan of base set boxes, purely for the fact that the first major sealed booster box that I invested into was Sun and Moon base set booster box. Those of you that have been on the channel a long time will know the story. And yeah, I did really well out of it, but it took many years for me to start seeing a profit. And it's one of those things, you set it and forget it, and then you check the price and you're like, oh, I'm up 3x. That was unexpected. But it took, you know, multiple years, 4, 5, 6 years. I can't even remember how long I held it now. It was many years though. But Scarlet and Violet booster box is at a really, really attractive price right now. Really, really attractive price. Let's have a look. Last week it was averaging 217. This week 219. So within about 1% of where it was last week. But let's have a look at eBay. Look at this. Last sold eBay US $200. That is the cheapest I've seen a Scarlet and Violet booster box go for, and it is the oldest Scarlet and Violet booster box. Now, the thing to remember with base set booster boxes is don't look at Sword and Shield base set booster box as a sort of measuring level. Don't look at it, because it was extremely short printed, and short printed sets tend to obviously increase in price a lot quicker. What you really want to look at is things like Sun and Moon base set box, and look at the historic data on it, because like I said, there were a lot of them around, the Sun and Moon base set booster boxes. They were readily available, and it took many years for them to start to see serious growth. Now, for $200, that is way too cheap for that base set booster box. That's a nice minty one as well. Oh, okay, best offer accepted. Okay, ignore me. Don't know what that one sold for. In fact, because it's a buy it now at 200, did that mean best offer accepted? They just scooped it for even less, probably. That, to me, screams that that was a massive dump. Is there another one there for 204? Is that an auction? Yeah, look. 2 available at 204. That's crazy. It's crazy cheap, guys, for the oldest Scarlet and Violet base set booster box. But the point I wanted to make is don't expect it to go to the moon overnight. Okay, you're getting in at a really good price point. This is 100% one of the boxes you have to put away for multiple years. Okay, you put that away for 5 years, I think it's going for $600 plus. Okay, pretty decent investment if you ask me. I don't think you can lose coming in at that price point, and it has the potential to moon. Okay, it has the potential to 3 years from now start really accelerating in price. Okay, I think worst case scenario, 5 years from now, it's $600, and that's worst case scenario. We could see the whole Scarlet and Violet era 5 years from now be one of the best performing eras. It really could be. We just don't know what's going to happen once all this stuff is out of print. We don't know. And not just out of print. It's not just about the fact that they're not making it anymore. It's about having time after that as well. What happens 1 year out of print, 2 years out of print? That's when sets, anything can happen. It really, really can. And we could see Scarlet and Violet base set booster box in a year from now could be $1,000. We could have no boxes under $1,000 in 5 years' time from Scarlet and Violet. That is a very real possibility. I'm not saying it will happen, but it is a very real possibility. There's a chance. There is. Last sold in the UK, 155 quid. What are we talking about, guys? We're still getting retail priced boxes from the start of Scarlet and Violet. All of my UK people that are moaning that they can't get retail price goods, here you go. It's right here. In the UK, you can buy Paradox Rift for retail. You can buy Sword and Shield base for retail. You can get Phantasmal for just a little bit over retail. You can get Mega for just a bit over retail. I'm not having anyone moan. All the people that moan when prices are high are the people that aren't in the hobby anymore. Okay, they are a vocal minority that now we do have the cheap prices. People aren't buying them. And even people who are in the hobby, they're not scooping these up. This is a really, really good investment. And this is what I was talking about earlier. You've got investing, you've got collecting, you've got the sweet spot in between. Okay, this is way, way, way at the side of investing. That is a fantastic deal if you put that away. Retail priced, nearly out of print, will be out of print in a couple of months' time. Put that away for 5 years. You'll be happy with it, I guarantee. But is it the coolest set to have in your collection? No. And that's what I'm talking about. If you were purely all investors, you would all be buying cases of Scarlet and Violet base right now, but we're not. At least most of us aren't. I'm not. I would much rather have cooler stuff in my collection. I might get one because I don't own one. I might get one for that price. It's a really good time to buy into it, but I'm not buying cases of it. And I'm not using my budget for other sets. I'm not saying I'm not going to buy any more Phantasmal or Destined or Evolving or anything like that. I'm going to focus purely on Scarlet and Violet base set booster boxes. That is an investment mentality. It really is. Anyway, let's move on. We're going on a lot of tangents today. This is going to be a long episode. I don't know how long I've been going already. And I haven't even stopped yet. I haven't even had a drink or anything. This is crazy. It's crazy, guys. Let's move on to the big boy then, the king of the jungle, the Sword and Shield sets, Evolving Skies. Before I dive into Evolving Skies, I'm just going to very briefly give you a market summary of what's happening with Sword and Shield sets. All of them. All of them are coming down in price right now. Money is coming out of Sword and Shield right now. The smart people are buying those boxes. Now is an excellent opportunity to get a discounted price on all of these Sword and Shield boxes. Even the top sets. Your Evolving Skies, Fusion, Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest, Astral Radiance, Crown Zenith. It's all coming down in price right now. Chilling Reign is all coming down. It's all much lower than it was a couple of months ago. Partly, I think the reason behind it is it's not where people's focus is at the moment. There's so much hype, there's so much promotion to all the new stuff that's coming out right now. A lot of people are just taking profits, they're liquidating, they're dumping for 10%, 20% below market because they don't care, because they're already up $1,000, particularly on like Evolving Skies and stuff like that. Or they're up 2x on their Fusion Strike box. So there's no problem in them dumping it now for $100 below market. There are insane deals out there right now on Sword and Shield. My prediction on Sword and Shield is it's going to continue to cool off over the next couple of months, and at some point over the next year, probably it's not going to happen straight away, but it's going to start trickling in. Okay, prices are going to start creeping up to all-time highs again. People aren't going to be looking at it. Evolving Skies will start pushing up to that, $2,500, $2,800. Fusion Strike will start pumping over $1,000 again, and that will bring the attention back. Okay, it's probably going to be mid 2026 to end of 2026, but once that bull run starts on Sword and Shield again and people start FOMOing into it again, you've got to remember, every time that these pumps start happening on Sword and Shield, it's less and less on the market. Every time that we hit into that hype cycle again for that particular era. and it just becomes more and more aggressive. The prices just start getting more and more volatile. I think that the real smart money, if you've got capital to spend, move into Sword and Shield now and stalk some auctions, because I think that there will be some really good deals over the next few weeks on some of these boxes. Anyway, let's look at prices. So, Evolving Skies, I'm not even going to look at the averages because there's only been 3 sales. No, 4 sales, 5. Okay, 6 sales on Evolving Skies over the last week. That is more than usual on TCG Player. Partly, I think, because the price is dropping down to some crazy levels. We're seeing average prices here of around about $2,200. Let's have a look at eBay because that'll give us a better view. Last sold, $2,125. The average a couple of weeks ago was around about that $2,300 range. I think $2,300 is more of a fair price for it. So you're about 10% off of where I'm speculating market should be right now. Let's have a look, find some more sales. $2,000. That's like $500 off. $300 off of market, $500 off of probably where it should be. That's a really good deal. If you can scoop anything sort of sub $2,000, you've done insane on Evolving Skies. But I don't think it'll last. Like I said, give it 6 months, give it a year, it'll be pushing all-time highs again. I really do think so. And I think that's the same for all of the Sword and Shield sets right now, or at least the top 5, the big boys. Last sold in the UK, 1,678. So it's down significantly this week, but I really wouldn't worry. This is just an opportunity to buy more. Fusion Strike coming down in price again, just continuing down. I'm hoping that it's sort of stabilizing at around this point. Average last week $867. This week $840, so down another $27 on something that I think should be $1,000 box. It's already on discount. Last sold eBay US agrees, similar price to TCG Player. $150 below $1,000 where I think it should be. Nice minty box as well. Good opportunity to move in if you've got that kind of bank and you have faith. Like the people who are buying Fusion now and Evolving Skies now are not your people that are new to this. It's the people that have been here a long time. They know what these sets are. Okay, they know the opportunity there, particularly with Evolving Skies. Massive opportunity to buy that now and put that away for a few years. I think everyone's pretty confident that's going to go up in value. Yeah, massive discount across all of Sword and Shield this week. We'll quickly zip through some of the prices. Last sold eBay UK, 598 quid. Not that far off of all-time highs. All-time highs are what, in the 650-ish range? We're not that far off of it. And again, nice minty sealed box of Fusion Strike. That's a really nice box, that one. No crumpled corners, very nice and square. Very nice. Very nice pick up, whoever scooped that. You've just got to have the confidence. And like a lot of people don't have the confidence to drop 600 quid on something like that, or $850. But the people who really, really know, they're the people that are increasing their bags on this and will get rich off of this. Lost Origin, again, continuing to fall down in price, as are most Sword and Shield sets. 653 last week, 643 this week. So not down as much. Down, what, like 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, $7, 1%. So it looks like Lost Origin is starting to show signs of hitting the floor of where it should be, and hopefully not falling anymore. Last sold eBay US around about the same price, $744. Last sold eBay UK, $575. I do think that is so undervalued. I think that both Fusion and Lost Origin should be up at that $1,000 plus range. It's a great opportunity to buy, and you're getting 25% off Lost Origin, in my opinion. Astral Radiance, kind of chilling near its all-time high. Just kind of sat there. Multiple sales at around 400. 400 is a good point for it, and it's been holding at around about this 400 mark for a good while, a good few weeks. Last sale, though, is a little bit lower, $25 off at 375. It is just one sale, though. Let's have a look at eBay. eBay last sold 341. What's going on with that one? 293. 293 is crazy cheap for it. Like I said, last few weeks it was $400 on TCG. Yeah, look at this. Sale from the 10th, 405. From the 1st. Oh, what? Only 3 sales in the last week on TCG Player. That's really interesting. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about, guys. There's always going to be deals. This is on auction as well, because there's not enough eyes on this kind of stuff right now. So stuff slips through on auctions and buy it nows and stuff like that, going for way below what it should. Look at that, 293. That's so cheap. That's like almost the same price as a Twilight Masquerade box. For Astral Radiance and Sword and Shield. What? Absolutely bonkers. See, this is where market should be. 340, 373. Even 340 is really cheap. Market should be like 400. People getting some crazy deals out here, I'm telling you. If you know what you're looking for, that's why you subscribe down below, to never miss an opportunity to know your prices. Who else is going to give you all of these tabs worth of information and tell you all the prices? All you got to do is pop me on once a week. Chuck me on podcast style. You can do some jobs around the house, or you can just chill and be lazy and drink a cup of tea if you're British, or sit and eat some pizza or something like that, and I will let you know all the plays going on in the market. Right now, Astral Radiance is criminal. Absolutely criminal. 271, last sold in the UK. Let's move on. Brilliant Stars. Brilliant Stars fell down a lot. I personally was surprised that it ever went below $500, and then it plummeted to closer to $400 in November. And now it's bounced back up a little bit, and now it's chilling on its 500 mark, which is where I thought that resistance should be. One sale to date, quite a bit under, 464, but then look at all of the other sales. All the other sales are right on that $500 mark. And I think that's where market should be for Brilliant Stars. But as with anything, when market's 500, you'll get people dumped for 475, 450. I think at eBay, right up there, nice and expensive. Sell from yesterday, 510 on a buy it now. Still a decent buy, in my opinion. It's already pushed over that. Last sold in the UK, look, new listing tag, bought out straight away, 364. That's really cheap, really, really cheap. There you go. There's market, 404. Silver Tempest. Silver Tempest come down in price again by the looks of it on chart. $433. Last week down to 412 now. So that's nearly another 5% drop, 4.5% drop this week on Silver Tempest for a set that was in October, pushing all-time highs and trying to break through that $500 mark. I think it will get back up there. I think in 6 months' time, it will be the other side of $500, and you won't see it below 500 again. But I said that about Brilliant Stars. I said that Brilliant Stars, once it went up to 540, it wouldn't go below 500 again, and we saw it drop to nearly 400. Crazy, those people who bought in at that point. Last sold eBay US 408. And last sold eBay UK 374. I'm telling you, the smart money, and quite good as collections pieces as well, is moving into some of these Sword and Shield sets. If you've got this kind of capital to drop, $400, $500, I'd be looking at Brilliant Stars, Lost Origin, Silver Tempest. Really good opportunities, in my opinion. Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith, the chart's been broken forever. Seems to be chilling over the last couple of weeks at around about this $204 range. Did peak a little while ago, a few months ago, right up to around about 220. So it's within, 10-15% of its all-time high. Crown Zenith is one of those sets where just always has such steady growth. Let's zoom out on the chart to before it was broken. You could see, yeah, it's had a correction when the whole market cooled off, but look at this. Look at all this growth over the year before then. Such steady growth as well. The thing I like about it was it never spiked up. It was just so consistent over the last year. It just kept doing like little 2% this week, 3% this week, 2%. And that might seem small compared to some of the other sets that were spiking 20% this week. Now it's down 10%. Now it's up 30%. But 2-3% each week compounding is insane growth for any kind of investment. It really, really is. I like Crown Zenith. I think it's one of the safest places to put your money. Last sold, look at this, eBay US. $185. That's so cheap, guys. This is a $200 plus box all day long. Should be closer to 210, 215. Even at 210, 215, that's a really good deal. Let's have a look at more sales. Yeah, look. Same day yesterday, 214, 210. That's where market should be. And someone dumps one for 185. Deals to be had in the market if you know what you're looking for. Really is. Last sold in the UK, under 200 quid. 195. Dead on 200. Don't even show me that ETB plus. Oh, I want it so bad. I've said it for so long. That is 100% what I'm talking about halfway between the two circles of collection and investing. Such a cool piece. I've wanted it for so long. I didn't buy it when it was like 200 quid. I should have bought it. It just keeps getting more and more expensive. I keep teasing myself by looking at it. Maybe one day I will buy it. Oh, so mad at myself for not buying that. Let's finish off with something a little bit different. We like to finish off by talking about something that we wouldn't normally talk about, just to, I don't know, just settle the air after all that. We're going to talk about Destined Rivals Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box exclusive SV10 Destined Rivals bracket DRI close bracket, which is its official name. Basically, DRPC ETB for short. I own one of these in my collection. Very happy to have it. And it's doing some interesting things on the price chart, so I thought I would point it out to you. Now, I never really recommend investing into PC ETBs. People get angry when I say that because they are more volatile. They are more likely to shoot up in price, but they're also more likely to shoot down in price. Just because things over the last year have continued to shoot up in price doesn't mean they will continue to. And that is why I'm pulling up Destined Rivals PC ETB, because what's that doing on the charts, guys? Which direction is that chart going? We're down 14% over the last 3 months, and it's down even more off of its all-time high. 383 was its all-time high. Now they are going for 300, 299, 298, 298. Now, don't get me wrong. That's still really expensive. It's still holding a massive premium. However, it is reducing down in price. I think it's turning into a bit of a play. As with anything, when market is a certain price, you're always going to get people that dump below, who need the money, who are maybe already 2x up, 3x up on their money. If someone ordered this from Pokemon Company or Pokemon Center, either, they're already way up on their money, so they're happy to dump even below $300. They'd be happy to dump $200, $250. Keep an eye on this, because price is coming down. I think that it's going to be one of the most desirable PC ETBs of the whole era, and you'll be able to get some deals. Let's have a look at eBay. Look at this. Last solds, right. 358. Buy it now. Auction, 305. Buy it now, 380. Buy it now, 300. That's, oh, ignore this one. That's from November 29th. Right, okay, let's look at these. 305, 380, 300. All sold yesterday. This buy it now, 300. Look, he's got a load of them. So he's happy. He's just taken profit on some of these, okay? $300 is a really good deal. when it's going for more on an auction. Yeah, it's only going for $5 more. But where do you think this box is going to go in the long term? It's going to be a very desirable PCE2B, in my opinion. And just look at the price swings on this. Now, I'm not saying you'll sell it for 380 all day, every day. That's one sale. But he sold it for 380, this guy, yesterday, with no photos, with stock photos. And I just wanted to point out the swing in price. What am I doing? So $80 swing. 80 divided by 299. That's a 26.7% swing between two buy it nows yesterday on the same day. And these look quite minty, these ones that he's selling. Just wanted to point it out. Okay. I'm always going to point out plays to you. If this continues to get cheaper and it becomes even more attractive, this could be the play. This could be even better than moving into a booster box. Okay? Just something I observed in the market that I wanted to share with you guys. I could have easily kept this one to myself and just watched it go down and down and down in price, and then scooped up more of them. But that's not what I'm all about. I'm all about, if I see a play, I'll let you know a play. That's why you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please do smash that like button. Hitting the like button is one of the best things you can do to help my channel succeed and get it out there to a wider audience. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and peace.